focus more on Hurricane Milton right now. It's causing major flooding in Florida, as you can see. As Tara said, it has weakened to a Category 1, but several counties in West and Central Florida are under flash flood emergencies. That means life-threatening water rising at catastrophic levels. More than 3 million people are without power now. We know that Milton has left people dead in its wake, but we don't have a number yet. Milton also spawned deadly tornadoes, as Tara just said. Even before it made landfall, 41 tornadoes broke out across Miami, Tampa, and Melbourne. This video shows a huge funnel cloud over Wellington. This is the kind of stuff we see in the Midwest, not Florida. These twisters left a path of destruction, killing several people, including some residents at a retirement community. Search and rescue efforts are starting, but will be tough with the high water and debris on the roads, Bob.
Seems like about everyone in this area knows someone who is down there.
Totally.
And some residents, tourists in Florida got out of there. Others are weathering the storm at home. Sandy Dunn and her husband have lived down in Florida for decades. Now, Dunn grew up in Westchester. Her husband grew up in Delhi. The past few days, they've been filling up, stocking food and extra water into their house. She's right on the edge of the major evacuation areas. And the couple said they were taking the proper precautions. But before the storm, they told us they were preparing for the worst.
We're hoping to ride this out because our home is a newer home. It is wind mitigated with impact glass, and we do have our shutters up, but anything can happen.
So we're told the Dunns lost power around 9:15 last night, and they're waiting until the sun comes up this morning to go out and survey the damage.
Well, Bob just mentioned power, so I've been watching some of the latest tweets, and our producers have all overnight to see what's going on in Florida. And here are some of the things that we have been noticing on Twitter. The Associated Press says that 3 million homes and businesses right now are without power around the state of Florida. So as we were talking about that, we will be continuing to monitor power outages. Also, this is from the St. Petersburg, Florida Twitter, and they say, or X I should say, citywide drinking water alert. The water shut down at midnight due to a water line break. So in addition to power, you're going to see things like water mains and water lines down. We also wanted to show you some tweets from our sister stations. I found this from one of our meteorologists, Jennifer Collins, at one of our sister stations. And this is video. You heard Sheila talking about the tornadoes, the possible tornadoes down there. This is video from, again, a viewer, but from our meteorologist, Jennifer Collins, down in, I believe this is North Palm Beach. And you can see that person was actually in a vehicle when they were taking this video of the tornado. So that's pretty scary there. So another thing I quickly wanted to show you, and again, I'm going to be watching tweets all morning. This is from the NOAA Atlantic Oceanographic and Meteorological Lab. Look at this. This is inside Hurricane Milton, and you can see what the waves look like in the ocean. And they say that these were 28 feet and wind gusts as strong as 75 miles per hour. So again, we'll be watching and seeing all the latest tweets as we see them this morning, Sheila.
It's unbelievable. First responders and organizations from all over the country went to Florida ahead of the storm to lend a hand, and groups from Ohio are there. Local 12 Sydney Hawkins has been staying in touch with them. Sydney, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Sheila. More than 80 first responders with Ohio Task Force 1 remain in Orlando this morning, offering support through medicine, search efforts, and connecting victims with family members they've lost contact with. This has been a 2-week journey for Ohio Task Force 1. They went to Orlando in late September to assist with the aftermath of Hurricane Helene near Tampa. They were then sent to North Carolina to serve multiple counties there this morning. They are back in Orlando. Yesterday, they were staging and preparing for where they are needed. Their work is expected to continue today as Hurricane Milton landed as a Category 3 storm yesterday.
We're all down here with the same idea that we want to help as many people as we can in the best way possible, whether that's through recovery, through active rescue, through distributing supplies, whatever we're tasked with. We're just ready to do.
Now, we are also monitoring the University of Cincinnati Bearcats, who are scheduled to play against the University of Central Florida in Orlando Saturday. As of this morning, that game is still taking place. Sheila?
Thanks a lot, Sydney. We also know Matthew 25 Ministries has had people in North Carolina because of Hurricane Helene, helping victims there. The leaders of that charity in Blue Ash say they're also monitoring Milton because they're going to be going and responding after the storm down there as well.
As they do. They're such a great organization.
Yeah.
5:07 now. We'll continue to bring you the very latest on Hurricane Milton in the next half hour.
Plus, a local man is making sure every kid gets to have a Halloween costume.
And Local 12's Annie Brown will tell us how he does that. That's just ahead on Good Morning Cincinnati.
A live look at Hurricane Milton, still at a Category 1 status, moving fast off to the northeast at 18 miles per hour. Tampa, close to Tampa, more so Siesta Key towards Sarasota, had that direct landfall. And thankfully, because of the placement, the extreme storm surge didn't happen. But with this particular hurricane, something interesting is happening is that on the backside, which is typically not as strong in the way of winds, has been extremely strong in winds, taking street signs and propelling them through the air. So that is now happening towards Daytona Beach as it continues to lose some of its strength. So still at a Category 1, still dumping a lot of rain towards Daytona Beach. It's going to continue to shift out and over the open waters of the Atlantic as it gets farther and farther away. I think even by 8 o'clock, we're going to be completely clear of this. We're still going to have rain and wind on the backside that's going to be causing some issues along that Atlantic side. But weather is improving for many to the west. Here at home, our weather is quite beautiful. A little chilly out there this morning for some 40s and 50s. But if you want to make it a bike day, you've got highs in the low 70s. I'll show you when we start to see rain chances here at home coming up in your full forecast. Sheila.
Appreciate it, Tara. It's 5:11, and even after that painful loss on Sunday, 2 Bengals are named Player of the Week. Plus, some other players are back on the field after recovering from injuries. It's all ahead on Good Morning Cincinnati. Good morning, Cincinnati. It is 5:13, and you are looking at Lake Mary, Florida. This is south of Orlando, where Hurricane Milton has already passed through. Right now, it's dumping a lot of rain on the east coast of Florida, but you can see it's still bringing some high winds in central Florida as well, and rain is still falling. There's some parts of Florida that have seen about 15 inches of rain, almost 15 inches of rain, 41 tornadoes. So this is all still developing, and we're going to keep an eye on it with you. Tara Blake will be here in just a moment. As you wake up here in our area, it's 57 degrees at 5:14. The Bengals have 2 key defensive players back on the field. Sheldon Rankins and DJ Ivey were both back at practice yesterday. Rankins missed 3 straight games, and Ivey's been out since last December. But if they're able to play on Sunday, that'll be a nice boost to the struggling defense. The offense, led by Joe Burrow, is top 5 in the league for passing right now. Burrow leads the NFL in touchdown passes and passer rating. But they're still 1-4 with that record, so they have to be even better.
I would say right now we're not the team to beat. We're 1-4. I don't think there's any balance to find. I don't think we can say that about ourselves right now. There's a lot of work to do before we can consider anything postseason wise. I think right now we just have to focus on the week-to-week, day-to-day, and trying to get a win.
The Bengals will try and get that win over the Giants this Sunday. Kickoff 8:20 in New York.
And that strong offense is being recognized. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are the FedEx Air and Ground NFL Players of the Week. FedEx making a $2,000 donation in their names to the Thurgood Marshall College Fund. Burrow threw for 5 touchdowns last Sunday. Chase had 193 receiving yards and 2 TDs.
Well, we have the tip-off time for this year's Crosstown Shootout. Xavier and UC renew the rivalry on December 14th at 2 p.m. This game is always a huge one, but the stakes could be higher this year. It has the makings of a potential top 25 matchup. ESPN has UC ranked at 19 in the preseason, with Xavier coming in just outside the top 25.
A team of superheroes is gathering at the Cincinnati Museum Center for some Halloween fun, and you can go. Off the Rails Halloween edition is tonight. Come dressed as your favorite superhero and explore the haunted halls of the History Museum. Keep your costume on for the Masked Singer karaoke. Hero and villain themed drinks are available too. Tickets are $25 and the fun will last from 7 to 10 tonight.
Remember, that one is adults only.
Right.
A man in Norwood is making sure every child has a Halloween costume. You can shop for your child for free this weekend at the Norwood Recreation Center. And Local 12's Annie Brown joins us live with a look at his kindness. I love this so much, Annie.
Well, hi, good morning to you. You can come here to the Norwood Recreation Center this Saturday and Sunday and pick up a costume for your child if you need it. And we got to look at some of those costumes yesterday. And let me tell you, there's everything for every child. I'm talking Power Rangers. I'm talking Captain America, Ariel the Mermaid, you name it. Now, this is all got started on the idea that every child should have a costume. It was started by Norwood man James Bishop, who collected more than 200 costumes as well as accessories for kids of all ages through a costume drive that he started last year. The goal was to collect as many costumes as possible for this year. This Saturday and Sunday, families are invited to shop with their child to get a costume. Each family will get a bag with their costume, including some Halloween candy. Bishop says, along with a love for Halloween himself, Norwood loves Halloween, and the area gets a lot of trick-or-treaters, so we wanted to find a way to make sure everyone was included in the fun.
We're Halloween fanatics. We have always been into Halloween, and when we moved to Norwood, we realized how much Norwood and Halloween have such a connection. Our neighborhood gets very much into Halloween. We get like over 300 kids for trick-or-treating, which kind of sparked this whole idea, is that we get so many kids and everyone loves the decorations. And this was just a way to say, okay, how can we make sure that every kid that wants to trick-or-treat has a costume that they can wear year after year?
So the goal is to do this every single year. So if you don't need a costume and you'd rather donate, you can actually come here over the weekend and donate a costume. Or if you can't make it to the recreation center, there are businesses around Norwood that have donation boxes where you can actually bring costumes and place them in the donation box. So some of those are Nick's Cycle and Strength, Indian Mound Cafe, or the Norwood Cidery. For now, live in Norwood, Annie Brown, Local 12 News.
Thank you, Annie. The pop-up shop is from 10 to 1 on Saturday and Sunday. And if you have any questions, you can email norwoodgivesback@gmail.com.
Airheads Candy is stepping up its game this Halloween season. Erlanger-based Perfetti Van Mella makes Airheads. The company unveiled a limited edition cherry-scented foot spray in a container shaped like a big red foot.
Look at it.
The product takes inspiration from the famous Trick or Treat, Smell My Feet, Give Me Something Good to Eat.
Can we sing that, or is that copyrighted?
Probably, with our luck, it'd be copyrighted. Airheads will be giving several away. Those foot sprays daily, by the way, starting on Monday.
I would use that. Cherry flavor. Cherry scent. I like cherry scent. A good cherry scent.
Little foot spray.
That's cute.
Boy, the old
Smart.
sinky feet.
I like those folks over at Perfetti. They're awesome.
They are.
Yes.
They're thinking.
They like the exploding Coke and everything. Tara, good morning.
Do you guys spray your feet?
No, but I would.
No, but I would if I had that, yeah.
Depends on the situation.
Don't you put a scented lotion sometimes?
I put lotion on top
with
of my feet. That's
a little
true.
pedicure, yeah.
But I don't want, toes are gross. Like, I don't, bring no attention to them, please. All right, here we are with Hurricane Milton. We've got it shifting off to the east, even more so than my graphic can keep up with. So that is still bringing the heaviest rain over Daytona Beach, making landfall yesterday at about 8:30 in Siesta Key at a Category 3, 120-mile-per-hour winds. Because of the placement just to the south of Tampa, we had, thankfully, the water shoved back out over the sea in the Bay of Tampa, where we could have found 10 to 15 feet of storm surge. And there's still a chance for storm surge to even be an issue this morning. It did not find near the extremes in the way of rain. Now, wind seemed to be the bigger issue, and that's still happening for us here towards Daytona Beach at that Category 1 status. Winds on the backside of this particular tropical system is more dangerous, and so we want that to get far out to sea so that we can just kind of take a breath here in Florida. And that's expected here by about 8 o'clock this morning. It is going to continue to shoot off to the east outside of the United States, drive farther and farther away, is impacting and likely to impact the Bahamas to even Bermuda. but no additional issues for the United States, even downgrading by about Friday morning. So there's still some additional worries about storm surge. Again, we've got a high tide this morning at about 6:51 in Tampa, 3 to 5 feet for storm surge, 4 to 7 a little bit farther south. We're looking at that same kind of story happening towards Orlando, and you can see where we still have some of the isolated areas. Storm surge warnings happening just south of Tampa. You've also got towards Jacksonville, and we still have hurricane warnings in place, obviously, with the locations closer to the actual hurricane. But notice this keeps updating on me. We've got Daytona Beach finding less and less rain, so the extremes in the way of heavy rain is starting to decrease as it works its way back over the water. Here at home, our forecast brings in some rain chances by about Sunday. We're beautiful over the next couple of days. Warmest Saturday, rain chance Sunday, Monday into Tuesday. Next week's going to be a lot cooler, but if you're excited about rain, I don't have a lot here. You're going to kind of see it around us, but I do see a chance on Sunday and again on Monday, but a lot of it looks north and east. We also have a chance for seeing possibly the northern lights tonight, so I'm fine-tuning that forecast for you too. Right now, though, Jen is watching the roads.
The 444 Traffic Report, sponsored by Blake Maislin.
I'm watching tweets, I'm watching the roads, I'm watching it all this morning. And right now, there is one spot I want to let you know about where we still have some lanes closed for construction and a ramp closure. And that is the ramp from Colerain Beekman to 74, the ramp from Colerain Beekman southbound, I should say, to 74 eastbound should be closed until about 6 a.m. this morning. And they still have double lane closures going on 74 eastbound from about Montana up to 75. You can see that as we take a live look at the camera there, that they've got you down to one lane 74 as you're passing Colerain Beekman and heading towards 75. So as more people get out there, we could see a delay. So just be prepared for that. Luckily, I don't have any other major problems right now or delays. There's a look at 471 right now, 5 minutes, 275 to downtown. As we get closer to 6:30, 6:45, that drive time usually triples on 471. But right now, no other big problems.
525, 57 degrees. You're looking at a rare pastel painting by Claude Monet that's had a remarkable journey. A couple in Austria bought this piece titled Bord de Mer in 1936. That's Marseille. And it vanished when the Nazis invaded a few years later. The painting finally resurfaced in 2016 at an exhibit in France, and it was valued at $500,000 by a Houston gallery that listed it for sale. But it had to be surrendered to the FBI when the owners learned it had been stolen. The painting was finally handed over to that Austrian couple's granddaughters yesterday.
It's quite a thing there.
That's amazing.
A Columbus area tattoo shop owner is giving breast cancer survivors a chance to heal through art. 15 survivors came from across the country to get free tattoos. The women got to take control of their bodies and gain confidence. That was the goal by turning their mastectomy scars into artwork. The kind of tattoo shop's artists donated their time and space for the day to make it all happen.
That's remarkable.
That's beautiful.
I know people around here have done that too in Cincinnati before, but that's really cool to see and empowering for those women. I know some women who have done things similar to that, and it just makes you feel so much more empowered, I think.
Right. And I think when you look at your body and you've got that scar and that difference, you know, women are so connected to the way we look. So that's a way to they can look and feel beautiful again.
Having that community all together too,
Yeah,
and a shared
absolutely.
experience
Very cool.
of it is probably very important too. Yeah.
Time now is 5:26. Hurricane Milton is in Florida right now after tearing over the state.
Yeah, we have more coverage of the weather conditions and the damage.
Plus, several local groups are banding together to get some hurricane relief down south after two terrible storms. It's all ahead on Good Morning Cincinnati.
Breaking news alerts and the Weather Authority forecast. This is Good Morning Cincinnati, live on Local 12.
And good morning, everybody. I'm Bob Herzog.
I'm Sheila Gray.
And I'm Jen Dalton. Aaliyah is off today. We'll have top stories coming up. But the thing we've all been talking about here this morning, and we've been looking at, Twitter or X and just all the video and things coming out of Florida from Milton.
It's so terrifying to look at.
You know, it is terrifying. But I said to Tara this morning when I was talking to some of our producers early, I said it's bad, but it's not the level of bad that we feared it might reach. Tara, is that still fair?
Yeah, it is fair. It is bad. And obviously the cleanup is going to be where we're really going to know the numbers as the sun comes up today and we have Milton off out over the Atlantic so we can truly get a gauge of how bad he was. But one thing that really saved us is the placement, at least along Tampa, to not find that 10 to 15 feet in way of storm surge. Now, towards Sarasota, still expected to be as high as about 10 at times. But again, those numbers are still coming in. We still have a Category 1 hurricane. Heaviest rain and rain bands over Daytona Beach. It is now lightening up in Orlando, but notice the rapid winds. This has been the problem with this particular system. And it's not normal. Usually the strongest winds come right ahead of that eye. This is actually stronger on the backside as it starts to lose some of its tropical characteristics. And so a lot of damage is happening here, especially with very saturated ground and homes and buildings. It's also knocking out a lot of windows, especially high-rise windows on the backside. Now we've got the rain, some torrential rainfall, 15 inches. They were reporting upwards of 9 inches in just 3 hours in and at around Tampa and Sarasota. And so obviously that is extremely dangerous, which is why we didn't want anybody there. But that swath is exactly where we put it yesterday, up through Daytona Beach, around it, around 5 to 6 inches. The real scary part for me yesterday when I was here live for the noon is seeing the tornadoes that were popping up. They were big. They were the strongest tropical tornadoes, most likely on record. And it was using all of that moisture and humidity from and in and around Florida. So for us, we've got high pressure at home. We're sitting rather quiet. We're actually a little warmer this morning here at home at 56. As far as preparing for the day, you probably still want a sweatshirt, but forecasted high is going to be back into the lower 70s. We're going to talk more about Milton coming up.
Tara, thanks. Now, Hurricane Milton not only leaves more than 3 million people without power, it also leaves many without water. St. Petersburg officials warned residents that a broken water main forced the city to shut off its drinking water. And while Milton has weakened to a Category 1 hurricane, as Tara just mentioned, it can still leave devastating destruction behind. Florida Senator Richard Scott says at this point, the best thing people can do, stay put.
Number one is people that didn't evacuate that should have. We can't take care of them now. You have to stay in place now, and you have to hunker down, and you have to keep yourself alive.
So you see the blue flashes there off in the distance? That's not lightning. They're an electrical transformer exploding. Left a neighborhood without power as roads flooded. Some of those roads almost looking like rivers.
Several groups around Cincinnati are stepping up to organize relief for Hurricane Milton victims. The people leading these efforts all have ties to Florida. Jake Fernandez of Hebron is partnering with the Parlor Salon in Burlington to collect toiletries and non-perishable food and money. He was forced to move back to Cincinnati after Hurricane Ian. The Pirates Den on the west side is gathering items until tomorrow. And Cincinnati native Steve Hill now lives in Palmetto, and he came up to collect items and drive them back to Florida.
From the 813 to the 513, I mean, we're all people. 75 takes you straight down to Florida, so we got a direct path to help, and we're going to take advantage of it.
All 3 supply drives have various drop-off locations and times, and you can find the one that's nearest to you inside Paige Barnes' story on local12.com.
Well, we have been watching Milton this morning in several different ways, and one of those is we've been looking on X or Twitter to see the latest of what people are saying all across Florida. And we were looking at FEMA here, and the director of FEMA is in Tallahassee this morning at the Florida Emergency Operations Center, getting a briefing from the director in that area on the impacts they're seeing from the Hurricane Milton. So FEMA is in action and working with residents and folks that are directing operations there. One of the other things we wanted to show you is from one of our sister stations. Take a look at this, you guys. This is from CBS 12 News in South Florida. Our sister station there, a 30-yard dumpster launched onto the roof of a home in Avenir, which is in South Florida, ahead of the storms, even really before everything hit, just the winds there. And then take a look at this. This is video. We've been talking a lot about this ourselves this morning. I don't know if you've heard, but the hurricane ripped the roof off the Tropicana field. This is from Dave Moore. He's a commentator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers radio, and showing just how that entire roof has been destroyed this morning. So we'll be continuing to watch and seeing the latest. Sheila?
One of the most dangerous things about a hurricane, we talk about it all the time, it's the storm surge. And here's a closer look at why it's such a major concern from our chief meteorologist, John Gum.
Well, it's that push of water that comes in advance of the hurricane and as the hurricane makes landfall. You think of the winds out ahead of this thing blowing that water toward the coast, and that water piles up. The stronger the hurricane, the stronger the storm surge can be. So let's take a 3-foot storm surge, for instance, here. That comes up to the dune line along many beaches, may cause damage to the beaches. But when you start to get into the higher storm surge, maybe a storm surge of around 6 feet, which is going to be pretty common, it looks like, into the Tampa Bay area, that's when you start seeing flooding of homes adjacent to the water, adjacent to the coast here, especially on the first floor. The 12-foot storm surge not just inundates the lower levels of structures adjacent to the coast, it can inundate the upper floors, the second floor of these structures. And this storm surge is the most deadly part of a hurricane. It kills more people than any other aspect of the storm. And this is going to be a danger in Florida as this storm makes its way toward the coast.
Well, between Helene a few weeks ago and now Milton, cleanup and recovery efforts going to take months, if not years. And Local 12's Sydney Hawkins is here with a closer look at the help provided by Ohio Task Force 1. Sydney?
Yeah, Bob, more than 80 men and women with Ohio Task Force 1 remain in Orlando this morning. I spoke with one of the team members who tells me many of them are firefighters, first responders back here in Ohio, so the life-saving measures they're providing are familiar to them. More than 3 million homes and businesses are reportedly without power in Florida. The devastation from Milton comes as people there are still cleaning up from Helene that touched down as a Category 4 hurricane late last month. I spoke with the planning team manager with Ohio Task Force 1, who tells me they have a rescue team, search team, planning and logistical support, K-9 handlers, and medical, all with them to help storm victims. He also tells me those receiving the assistance have been nothing but grateful. Listen.
For Hurricane Helene here in Florida, we had an early team that went out that had a mission of searching a couple of neighborhoods that were still flooded underwater. And then in North Carolina, since we weren't there on the initial efforts, we didn't have any active rescues, but we were certainly a part of doing primary searches on houses and entire communities that hadn't been seen yet.
Now, back here at home, I spoke with leaders at CVG who tell me the airport is acting as a safe parking area for aircraft scheduled to travel through the storm's path. As of yesterday, there were at least 25 planes parked at CVG until they're clear to go back in the air. Bob?
Sydney, thank you. The Central and Southern Ohio region of the Red Cross also helping, of course, victims in Florida through blood donations, and more than 80 volunteers already deployed to affected areas.
This is going to be something we're going to be talking about for a while.
Yes, it will be. Yeah, it's 5:38. An Ohio man is arrested for allegedly bringing several guns into Trump Tower.
A local mayor is once again on the wrong end of a lawsuit.
And Blink announces a new musical component to the festival. We'll take a look next on Good Morning Cincinnati. First, it's time to call in and win. The Improvised Shakespeare Company is making a tour stop here. Performers improvise a Shakespearean masterpiece right before your eyes. They don't plan, they don't rehearse. Total improvisation. There are shows tomorrow night and Saturday afternoon at the Aronoff Center downtown. If you're calling number 6, we'll give you a family 4-pack. 513-763-5656.
Still dealing with Category 1 Hurricane Milton, soon to be making its way back over open water. I'll have an updated look at that forecast coming up in just a moment. We've got some exciting good news for you here in the tri-state with your Aurora forecast. You can see the Aurora Borealis or Northern Lights tonight and possibly Friday night, though I think it looks like we've got our best chance tonight. So the KP number, the K number that you're seeing here, means the higher the farther it goes. And so it's at a 9, which does include all 3 of our states. We're up at an extreme geomagnetic storm, severe to extreme. Again, that's tonight. Remember, you've got to get away from city lights, and likely your camera is going to make it look better than what you're seeing to the naked eye, but it could be quite a show. And thankfully, weather is cooperating for us. We still have a chance on Friday and Saturday as well, but we start to increase with a little bit of cloud cover, which could intersect that. That would be Saturday only. Oh, I took the Bengals off. I guess Bengals will be playing, just not here at home. We're going to find temperatures dropping back off with a small rain chance for you on Sunday. I want to talk more about that weekend forecast because we do introduce a rain chance, so that's coming up, as well as the updates on Milton. Bob?
Tara, thank you. Time for today's birthday bash. Happy birthday to Matthew. Matthew, there with his family, looking great in the sunflower field. Happy birthday. And a big old happy birthday to James. James is 97 today. How about that, James? Happy birthday, buddy. Share your family and friends' birthdays with us, too. All you got to do, upload those pictures at local12.com/chime in. 543. The Bethany House is hosting their biggest fundraiser of the year, and Local 12's Chloe Markley will tell us how they help families. Plus, 2 young boys are gathering donations for people affected by the recent hurricanes. We've got that story ahead as well on Good Morning Cincinnati.
Good morning, Cincinnati. Still looking at strong winds in Florida right now and heavy rain. This is outside of Orlando, a bit south of Orlando in Lake Mary, Florida. This is about the best live look that we've got right now. We have cameras and people all around Florida giving you coverage and developments of Hurricane Milton. But you're looking at Central Florida, still seeing real strong winds. We saw the eye go over the East Coast. Tara said it was heading back into the Atlantic as a Category 1. But we are really waiting for the sun to come up to see all the damage left behind. Up to 15 inches of rain in some parts of Florida this morning. Right now it's 55 degrees here in the tri-state at 546. An Ohio man is facing charges after he allegedly brought guns to the Trump International Hotel and Tower in Chicago. 21-year-old Brandon Peck of Oakwood is facing 2 felony counts of aggravated unlawful use of a weapon. Police say he did not have a firearm owner's identification card or a concealed carry license. A hotel employee spotted the guns in his hotel room, called the Secret Service. Police say Peck was taken into custody without incident, and they recovered 4 guns. Peck's attorney says he brought the guns from Ohio for protection.
Forever chemicals are seeping into our groundwater.
A lot of these legacy PFAS associations with the reduced effectiveness of vaccines in kids. We've seen increases in cholesterol.
The list of negative health effects grows by the day. Pesticides are one of the major ways these chemicals get into our water supply. Tonight on Local 12 News Live at 6, we turn the spotlight on the approval process for pesticides. Why are the testing standards for forever chemicals so weak? Local 12 investigates the PFAS and pesticides problem tonight at 6.
More local news now. The city of Walton is being sued again for actions taken by its controversial former mayor. Walton businessman and resident Kelly Fulmer filed the suit last month. He claims former mayor Gabe Brown improperly used city resources to harass and intimidate him. The city wanted access to the parking lot owned by Fulmer, who wanted to get paid for its use. Fulmer said he's filing the lawsuit so this doesn't happen to anyone else.
The Bethany House in Cincinnati helps at-risk families with a path to long-term housing.
The nonprofit's fall fundraiser tonight helps with that mission.
And Local 12's Chloe Markley is live to share how you can get involved. Good morning, Chloe.
Hey, good morning, Jen. Well, this is their biggest fundraising event of the year. Of course, they're really relying on the community to donate these funds, but also have fun tonight, learn a ton more about the Bethany House and their mission. Of course, you guys, Daniel, are helping hundreds of families in our area kind of get back on their feet. Now, this is just a temporary shelter, right, for the meantime until you can find them long-term housing. But tonight, your fundraiser, can you go over some details and why you're inviting the community out?
Well, you know, there's a lot of people struggling in our community, and a lot of those people end up getting served by Bethany House. We serve families, so mostly families led by women, and 2/3 of the people we serve are kids. And so an event like tonight, really helps us be able to do even more for those families, whether that's them staying in shelter. We also do prevention work to help people avoid shelter, and we help follow people after they leave shelter with additional support. And so all the funds from tonight's evening will support those families.
That's great. It sounds like a really fun event tonight. Can you kind of go over the details, what people need to know? And of course, they can still get tickets, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be really fun. So our seats are sold out, but we have standing room only tickets. We're at the American Sign Museum in their newly expanded space. We've got local celebrity bartender Molly Wellman serving 3 unique cocktails just for Bethany House, silent auction, really neat raffle items. And so people can learn all of that on our website at bethanyhouseservices.org. And the event is called the Welcome Home Bash, so look for that page.
Awesome. It sounds like so much fun and definitely a need. So thanks for sharing that with us, Daniel. Like Daniel just said, the event is at 5:30. That's tonight at the American Sign Museum. But for now, back to you guys in the studio.
Chloe, thank you. The Bethany House served more than 2,000 people last year with its shelter, housing, and prevention programs.
Well, Blink is 1 week away, and this year you'll need to turn up the volume as well. The Art and Light Festival is adding music to many of its installations this year. Music, a more integrated part of the whole experience. Several light installations will be accompanied by music or feature special live performances throughout the weekend. This will include both musicians and street performers along the route. So here's a look at the areas that will include integrated music. Lytle Park, 13th and Republic and OTR, 6th and Scott and Covington, Smale Park, the Icon Festival site, as well as Vine and 6th Streets. Blink kicks off 1 week from today with the Let It Shine Parade.
So exciting. 2 young boys are helping with hurricane relief. 10-year-old Jackson and 8-year-old Nicholas Watkins of Pilesville, Maryland, wanted to do something to help after their dad was deployed to North Carolina. He's a fire captain, and he went down to assist FEMA efforts. The boys organized a donation drive. They got a 53-foot trailer and brought the whole community together to fill it up with much-needed supplies. And that's not all. The boys also collected nearly $2,000 for the hurricane victims. And now, instead of coming home from North Carolina, their dad's going to go to Florida to help even more people. And that's exactly why Jackson and Nicholas wanted to do something. Look at those
Good
sweet boys.
Good boys.
Well, their
right
dads
there.
led a life of service,
Right.
and he's taught them well.
Yep. That video we were seeing right there with all of that debris piled up along the side, that is just, and we haven't even seen.
We haven't even seen.
Yeah, once we see the sun come up today, we'll get
I know.
that
All
sense,
we've seen is wind and floods and cars flying and trees. It's just incredible, Tara.
It's terrifying. I will say one of the biggest differences with this particular hurricane is the wind on the backside, which has been the most impactful. Still extremely heavy rain over Daytona Beach, but Milton is already out over the water. Milton made landfall last night as a Category 3 hurricane, 120-mile-per-hour winds at about 8:30, right here in Siesta Key. So a little bit closer to Sarasota and outside of Tampa. They've even had a little bit of additional rain here recently, but right now at a Category 1 status. Still at 85 miles per hour, northeast movement at about 18 miles per hour, but making its way into the Atlantic or already done so. We've got to be really close. I'm expecting by this afternoon for it to be well outside of Florida, maybe an additional rain band or two, but even then it's going to be significantly lighter. Thankfully, the winds are going to continue to subside as it moves farther and farther away from the United States. Not expecting to turn back to the eastern coast. On the backside of this hurricane is where we found those extreme winds. You can see they're putting the center a little bit farther east, but look at this toward Orlando. We've got 72-mile-per-hour wind gusts coming into play. These are the only ones that are showing up for us on our maps, but the backside is really where we've had issues. As it loses some of those tropical components, those winds are picking up and they're knocking out windows in high-rise communities that made their way through the initial push, but on the backside are finding the most damage, which is terrifying because you think you've made your way through the eye and the extremes, and then it hits you with another punch on the backside. We do still have a chance for storm surge. We still have maybe 3 to 5, highest would be 7 feet. We do have a high tide this morning, and then we'll have that low tide a little bit later in the day. But you've got the pink isolated areas where storm surge warnings are in place. This could continue for a few days, actually. And then the blue is indicating tropical storm warnings that are still in place, as well as a true hurricane warning where we still see that system. Additional rain predicted for us later now. I was looking at a another 4 to 6 inches, but it's moving fast. And so expected to find much lighter rain soon as it exits out over the Atlantic. Now, let's get you back here into the tri-state. We're quiet, beautiful, sunny. We're going to be a little warmer ahead of our next rain chance, which is Sunday. Maybe a drop or two on Monday or Tuesday. I don't think any of it's too exciting, but the temperature difference is going to be significant. So peaking at 80 on Saturday today, a little cooler than that in the low 70s. Still feeling good. Your overnight lows are soon going to be in the 30s, daytime highs only in the 50s. So we're going to talk more on that rain chance. I'll show you what it could look like for us if you've got any plans for Sunday and Monday. That's going to be coming up. But if you're headed out the door right now, let's check in with Jen and see how the roads are.
The 444 Traffic Report, sponsored by Blake Maislin.
Roads are not looking bad at all in our area to start the morning. And if you heard me earlier talking about lane closures and ramp closures on 74 near Coleraine, those are all clear at this point in time. Of course, we have the median there where all the construction is still going on. But you can see as we watch live that cars are now able to go from Coleraine Beekman onto 74 eastbound, and all lanes there are open where it had been down to one lane. But tonight, again, overnight between about 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. you could see that ramp closure and lane closures again, but for now looking much better in that spot as the morning commute rolls on and we get more people out there. That's good that that's clear. 471 so far problem free, 5 minutes to downtown from 275. We'll take a look at that when we get into our 6 o'clock hour. 7175, 10 minutes Florence to downtown, and no other major issues right now. Bob.
Thank you, Jen. Green Day is celebrating the 30th anniversary of its album, Dookie. They're remastering the album. They're releasing each track on a different and rather unusual format. Like, yeah, what you saw right there. So from When I Come Around on an old-fashioned wax cylinder to Basket Case on a big mouth Billy Bass. Remember those fish you would put on the wall? So I think I even saw a Teddy Ruxpin in there. You can hear all 15 formats at DookieDemastered.com. To buy them, you have to enter a drawing, which you can enter until tomorrow morning.
Huh. Taylor Swift is opening her purse to help victims of Hurricanes Helene and Milton. Feeding America's CEO posted on social media that the singer donated $5 million. The statement says the donation will help communities rebuild while providing food and water to storm victims. Country music legend Dolly Parton is also helping with hurricane relief. She pledged $1 million to help victims of Helene, and several of her companies joined together to match her pledge. North Carolina natives James Taylor, Luke Combs, and Eric Church will be joined by guitarist Billy Strings for a hurricane relief concert in Charlotte later this month.
And it's going to have to keep coming.
Yes.
The relief, I mean, that's all wonderful, obviously, but it's just going to have to keep coming.
The amount of destruction is going to take months.
I can't imagine what it's going to cost in Florida. Just Florida, not to mention North Carolina.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, but those people putting their money where their mouth is,
it's a big
good
deal
for them.
Yep.
Coming up, we'll have more updates on Hurricane Milton.
How its destruction is putting a strain on necessary resources.
And local groups working together to relieve some of that strain. It's all ahead on Good Morning Cincinnati at 6. Stay with us.
Breaking news alerts and the Weather Authority forecast. This is Good Morning Cincinnati, live on Local 12.
Good morning, I'm Jen Dalton.
I'm Sheila Gray.
And I'm Bob Herzogely. As the day off today, our top story this morning, of course, Hurricane Milton's landfall, the aftermath, and the ongoing storm still crossing Florida. Orlando is seeing some flooding this morning from the storm. This is a live look. Tara Blake has been tracking the path, tracking the potential for more storm surge still yet to come. Tara, what's the latest?
Milton is still at a Category 1 status. We've got winds at 85 miles per hour, moving off to the northeast fast at 18 miles per hour, almost moving that eye over the Atlantic. The rainfall has been torrential. Some spots in Tampa receiving upwards of 15 inches of rain. In just 3 hours' time, a record 9 inches was found. And so that's why evacuations were key. It did not see the extremes in storm surge surge. Because of the placement, it actually shoved the water from the bay out back into the sea, which was quite a blessing, but an odd sight too. We have numbers stretching up towards Daytona Beach at 12, 13 inches, almost exactly where we expected them to be. Surrounding areas still 3 to 6 inches. Actually, surrounding areas, especially south and east, more so had tornadic activity. Huge tornadoes, potentially the biggest and highest amount of tornadoes from tropical activity that we've ever had. Reports 41 tornadoes, 26 wind reports with a total of 67. We're cleaning up from those extremes as well. That was yesterday afternoon. Back here at home, weather is eerily quiet, still beautiful. We've got a comfortable start, beautiful sunshine, but I've got a little rain that I think is a possibility in the forecast coming up. Right now, we're sitting 5 degrees warmer than yesterday at this time. We've got temperatures in the 50s, at least for the city. 52 with the dew point at 45, a few in the 40s farther north, including Hamilton at 43, Harrison also in the low 40s, 47 Wilmington to 50 in Union, but forecasted high today with brilliant, beautiful sunshine back into the lower 70s. We're going to talk more about still the additional dangers with Milton. We're not yet done. Even as he exits out over the Atlantic, we still got some wraparound extremes happening, and so I'll make sure to detail that coming up. For right now, though, let's head on over to Sheila.
For more on Hurricane Milton, Tara, it's already deadly, but right now, no confirmed number of deaths has been released. Milton lashed Florida with a barrage of tornadoes even before the hurricane made landfall. Nearly 100 tornado warnings were issued in South Florida. That's the most on record in the state, and 41 tornadoes hit. The wind was so powerful it knocked a crane into a building in St. Petersburg, and St. Pete has seen more than 17 inches of rain. Also, the flooding is being called a 1 in 500 year event. People are being warned about life-threatening flash floods.
It's too dangerous to evacuate safely, so you have to shelter in place and just hunker down.
The debris is creating a challenge on top of all that. Look at this. The storm tore off Tropicana Field's stadium roof, and it's being used as a base camp for first responders. Some schools are open as emergency shelters for anyone who didn't evacuate. Milton also caused transformers to blow, and that's leading to 3 million power outages as of this morning.
And the video is just devastating, and some of the images that we've been looking at this morning. We've been watching X or Twitter for any updates out of Florida. And here's a few this morning. This one's out of the city of St. Petersburg, obviously hit earlier, and that is the citywide drinking water alert. Water shut down at midnight due to a water line break. So in addition to power outages, you're going to be seeing things like that. This is from our sister station. I don't know if you can see some of these videos. There's 3 different ones here, but you can see videos from the Lee County Sheriff's Office providing a look at the flooded streets in the area during Hurricane Milton. Tampa Fire and Rescue actually captured some of these videos. So you're seeing all kinds of, storm damage and wind and rain out of those areas. Someone asked about Cape Canaveral. We're going to take a look at that one, I think, coming up. But I also wanted to show this one. This is another sister station of ours. This is in South Florida, showing you a 30-yard dumpster launch onto the roof of a home in Avenir during Wednesday's storms. So obviously seeing all kinds of damage. We're going to be watching this. This is another interesting look from NOAA. And you can see this is inside a wave at the height of 28 feet and winds gusting as strong as 75 miles per hour. So we will be watching all morning long to see the latest. Sydney?
Yeah, Jan, and we spoke with first responders who were there. More than 80 first responders with Ohio Task Force 1 remain in Orlando this morning, offering support through medicine, search efforts, and connecting victims with family members they have not been able to contact. This has been a 2-week journey for this group. They went to Orlando in late September to assist with the aftermath of Hurricane Helene near Tampa. They were then sent to North Carolina to serve multiple counties there. This morning, they're back in Orlando. Yesterday, they were staging and preparing for where they are needed this morning. Their work is expected to continue today as Hurricane Milton landed as a Category 3 storm yesterday.
We're all down here with the same idea that we want to help as many people as we can in the best way possible, whether that's through recovery, through active rescue, through, distributing supplies, whatever we're tasked with, we're just ready to do.
Now, we're also monitoring the University of Cincinnati Bearcats, who are scheduled to play against the University of Central Florida in Orlando Saturday. As of this morning, that game is still taking place. Jen?
Well, Matthew 25 Ministries has a team in North Carolina this morning helping victims of Hurricane Helene. Leaders in Blue Ash say they're monitoring Milton to respond after the storm.
Some residents in Florida are weathering the storm at home despite dire warnings about the danger. Sandy and Clyde Dunn are from the greater Cincinnati area, but they moved to Cape Coral 3 years ago. Clyde Dunn says the line at the gas station Tuesday was miles long as he and his wife were preparing for the worst.
Making gallon bottles of ice, because the bigger the blocks stay colder, to prepare, getting shutters on our windows, purchasing things that we might not be able to get a hold of.
The couple says they're worried about what their home's going to look like as the area still recovers from Helene.
And hospitals are trying to keep up with the demand for IV fluids. The Baxter plant in North Carolina was devastated by Hurricane Helene. That plant provides more than half of the IV fluids in the U.S. Now, TriHealth set up a command center to keep medical leaders up to date on the local IV fluid supply. Hospitals are also opting for oral medications when they can. But the president and CEO of TriHealth says patients need to know their care will not be affected. 6:07 now. We have some sports news ahead with a Bengals update on some injuries and the players who will be returning to practice.
Plus Halloween fun for the whole family. One of Middletown's most attended events is back this weekend.
And Andy Brown is live sharing one man's mission to make sure every child has a costume this Halloween.
10 minutes here past 6 a.m. One of our live pictures that is unusable now because of the damage captured some of the scenes from yesterday. So I wanted to show this out of Anna Maria. I think there's ducks in this water. It's a little bit hard to show, so I'm not going to keep it on screen for too much, but obviously you can see the wind, you can see the waves. Look at the trees bending there in some spots. So Mother Nature, some of the ducks there just riding it out on the dock. A glimpse into yesterday in Anna Maria. Now a Category 1 hurricane and exiting out over the Atlantic as I speak. That's good news. Still with winds at 85 miles per hour, moving off to the northeast at 18. I'm expecting most conditions to be significantly better in Florida as early as 8 a.m. That's only 2 hours away because of this forward progression. Does look like it'll stay at that Cat 1 status a little longer. I'll show you more in that extended forecast coming up. But right here at home, a good Viking day. Weather cooperating for us with sunshine and 51 at 9 o'clock. May want the sweatshirt or the jacket this morning, but again in the afternoon hours, the sun warming us up, only though into the low 70s. We've got to warm up for this weekend though. We'll talk more on that too. Sheila, Jen, over to you.
Thanks so much, Tara. We have something to make you smile. Halloween costumes can be pricey, but our Annie Brown is live to preview a free costume giveaway this weekend.
And in sports, the Bearcats hope to break their losing streak in the Crosstown Shootout when you can watch the game. That's next.
.614, 52 degrees. Bengals veteran Mike Hilton says there was a players-only defensive meeting yesterday. First one since last season. And while the defense has struggled, Cincinnati has one of the best offenses in the NFL. Hilton told ESPN the defense knows it needs to match that. A boost could be coming. DJ Ivey and Sheldon Rankins can start getting reps with the team again. They were both cleared to practice after injuries. But Zach Moss and Mike Gesicki didn't practice, and Joseph Osai was limited.
Offense, defense, start with the front. So if you ain't got a front that like clicking and stuff, then it's hard to get anything going. But we getting the guys back now healthy, so we better play better football.
Jermaine Pratt there. The Bengals face the league's leader in sacks on Sunday. Cincinnati's primetime road record is just 1-15 since 2013. Kickoff in New York is at 8:20 Sunday night.
We have a tip-off time for this year's Crosstown Shootout between Xavier and UC. It'll be 2 o'clock on December 14th. The game always a big one between the rivals, but the stakes could be higher this year. It has the makings of a potential top 25 matchup. Both teams got the potential to be in there. ESPN has UC already ranked number 19 in its preseason rankings. X is just outside their top 25. The Musketeers won the past 5 meetings, but It's always just been within a few points. Always a good game.
A nonprofit is releasing an exclusive shoe collaboration with local students. Bigger Than Sneakers worked with Equals and Midwest Sneaker Boutique on these shoes. They sent over these photos. Students from the BTS Academy designed the shoes with a special message to find your North Star. It's a guiding principle to stay aligned to who you truly are. The back of the shoe says, "Go play," which represents feeling most inspired through play. Sales go live a week from tomorrow at $180 a pair, and all proceeds benefit the BTS Academy.
If you want to find out more, I think corporate in Hyde Park is where you can find out about that sale. All witches and warlocks are invited to Middletown this weekend for an enchanting time. The Hocus Pocus Family Fun Festival is bigger than ever. It'll cover the entire intersection of Central Avenue and South Main Street. New this year, Cool Critters Outreach has a unique petting zoo at the Windermere. Kids can show off their costumes during a dance party, and the Sanderson sisters will have a new show. Plus, there's a creepy car show, and it all kicks off Sunday at 2. It'll end with a showing of Hocus Pocus at the Sorg Opera House.
A man in Norwood is making sure every child has a Halloween costume. Local 12's Annie Brown joins us live with how he's making that happen. Good morning, Annie.
Well, good morning to you. Well, you can come here to the Norwood Recreation Center this Saturday and Sunday if you have a child that needs a costume. And let me tell you, we got a look at some of the costumes yesterday afternoon, and there's everything. There's Captain America, there's Ariel the Mermaid, there's even a few ghouls and goblins. So you are covered. The goal is that every child should have a Halloween costume. This was started by a Norwood man named James Bishop. He helped collect about 200 costumes as well as accessories for kids of all ages through a costume drive that started last year. The goal was collect as many costumes as possible. This Saturday and Sunday, families are invited to shop with their child to get a costume if they need it. Each family will get a bag with their costume, including some Halloween candy. Bishop says along with the love for Halloween himself, Norwood loves Halloween, and the area gets a lot of trick-or-treaters, so he wanted to find a way to make sure everyone was included in the fun.
We're Halloween fanatics. We have always been into Halloween, and when we moved to Norwood, we realized how much Norwood and Halloween have such a connection. Our neighborhood gets very much into Halloween. We get like over 300 kids for trick-or-treating, which kind of sparked this whole idea, is that we get so many kids and everyone loves the decorations, and this was just a way to say, okay, how can we make sure that every kid that wants to trick-or-treat has a costume that they can wear year after year.
So once again, the goal is to do this year after year. So if you have a new or gently used costume that you want to donate and your child doesn't need a costume, you're invited to come here to the Norwood Recreation Center this weekend to donate it. You can also donate costumes at Norwood businesses around the area. Some of those are Nick's Cycle and Strength, as well as Indian Mound Cafe, or even the Norwood Cidery. For now, live in Norwood, Annie Brown, Local 12 News.
Love it so much, Annie. Pop-up shop goes from 10 to 1.
Well, take a look at these Halloween hounds. Thanks, Stacy, for sending in these photos. Oh my gosh, how cute. However, your lab doesn't look like it's been too happy to be in the slammer this year. It's a little worn out from that. And David's dog wasn't having it either. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. He says Pepper hated being dressed up. Boy, I can't tell. Guess her outfit wasn't getting the buzz that she wanted.
That's so cute.
Oh my gosh, send those photos in to chime in.
Yeah, we've been running them every day, and it's been really fun, whether it's pets or your Halloween display, whatever you're doing to celebrate.
I wish my dog would tolerate it. Junie would have nothing to do. She would have nothing to do with a costume.
Every time we've tried to put anything on Charlie, she just
freeze. Yeah, I have the freeze kind of dog who just stands there like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Something is not right.
Isn't that so funny? Yeah. They're not supposed to have clothes, Tara.
Mine, nope. Either he just stares at me like, you gonna take this off? You gonna take this off? All right, here's a live look at Milton, still at a Category 1 hurricane. Heaviest rain still over Daytona Beach. They were expecting through the overnight towards Daytona Beach to get another 6 to 8 inches. Thankfully, those numbers have backed off a lot. As you can see, over the Atlantic is really truly where the heaviest rain is, but still a lot of wind. And that has been something very interesting about this hurricane. is that typically the strongest winds are coming right in ahead of that eye wall. But with this particular hurricane, on the backside is where the strongest winds are. They've been taking signs, street signs that have been loosened with a soggy ground, and just projectile through the air into homes and buildings. Terrifying sights, obviously. It's been knocking out windows in high-rise buildings in a lot of spots. That happened in Tampa. So it happened here, and it's progressed as it's losing some of those tropical components. And look at it, Orlando, 72 mile-per-hour winds on the backside of this system. So winds were one of the biggest problems with Milton, even here towards Sarasota, and a true landfall in Siesta Key at 8:30 last night with 120 mile-per-hour winds. Still at a Category 1 outside of Daytona Beach. Is going to continue to move over the Atlantic, steering way outside of the United States, which is good to hear. Going to have some impacts on the Bahamas and Bermuda, but still a Cat 1 by this afternoon. But you can see well outside of the United States, but just barely. I can see this dropping down to a tropical storm and then becoming a remnant low as it finally exits well into that early part of Friday morning. So Thursday night into Friday. We're still dealing with some additional surges. We do have a high tide this morning in Tampa at about 6:51. So we're looking maybe 30 minutes outside of that. More so high tides concerns a little bit farther south where we have that true landfall, and then also up towards Jacksonville. Additional rain, this has lightened up considerably. Still talking maybe another inch to 2, but your forecast is looking much better in Florida, especially by the afternoon hours. It's really even going to start to get much better here this morning. Here at home, our forecast continues to be quite nice. We're a little cooler this morning, and this afternoon at 72. We bump up to 80 on Saturday. Sunday, we've got 76 with the chance for rain, maybe a stray shower or two. Same story for us Monday, Tuesday, but an even smaller chance. Next week's going to be all about the much cooler air in place. 30s in the morning and 50s for highs. We're going to want to crank the heat, Jen, into next week. This morning, though, how about the roads?
The 444 Traffic Report, sponsored by Blake Maislin.
Roads looking okay to start the morning. I don't have any major issues or delays at this point. We had some earlier construction on 74 eastbound, which has since cleared. There's a live look at 75 all the way up from north of the 275 loop at Union Center down to the Brent Spence Bridge. So far, so good. Traffic picking up just a tad, but still we don't have any delays yet on 471 northbound. It's 5 minutes, 275 to downtown. Give it 15 minutes and you'll probably see that drive time triple up to 15 minutes, 275 to downtown. So I'll let you know then what it looks like. But for now, as we look around at some of our major interstates, I have no areas that are showing delays yet. We'll take another look though coming up. Well, you can tap into your inner child this Halloween. American Girl doll just rolled out a line of costumes for adults. They include Kit, Molly, and Kirsten. You can also buy a box that is separate that makes you look like a real life doll. Cool. The costumes are available at Target and Amazon. They're also available in kid sizes.
Kit, I don't know if you remember, Kit's from Cincinnati.
Oh, really?
Yes, she is.
That's fun.
This year's Met Gala features a lineup of fashion-forward men. The museum says actor Coleman Domingo, race car driver Lewis Hamilton, rapper A$AP Rocky, and producer Pharrell are co-chairing the event. They'll work with Vogue editor-in-chief Anna Wintour and honorary co-chair LeBron James. This year's theme is super fine, tailoring black style.
Fashion forward.
Yeah, man. That's you, right, Bob?
No, backward. Fashion backward. So this is a new approach to storm prep. Did you see this guy? Call it island ingenuity. A man originally from Puerto Rico brought his unique idea to Orlando ahead of Milton. Pedro Caceres cemented hooks 8 feet deep into the ground and ratchet strapped his house down.
Wow.
Pedro apparently used this method before in Puerto Rico and says it's worked in the past. His daughter says they'll wait and see if it works this time.
I need a follow-up.
Haven't heard anything from this fella as of this morning. And at least in Orlando.
Okay.
And while they obviously got hit,
yeah.
At least it was more central to the state.
I have never heard of such a thing.
I haven't either, but if it's a technique that works.
8 feet deep down, I mean, at least those hooks are pretty deep in the ground. So
Yeah.
hope he and everybody in the neighborhood's
I
okay.
hope we get to follow up.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
We are following Hurricane Milton today as it heads into the Atlantic. Still pummeling Florida, though. Sydney Hawkins will look at how the storm's affecting flights at CVG Airport.
People in Cincinnati are packing up necessities to help victims of Milton, the journeys they're making next.
And it was a party on the square to celebrate Skyline's big 75th anniversary. But did they get that Guinness World Record?
They got me on there.
That's next.
Breaking news alerts and the Weather Authority forecast. This is Good Morning Cincinnati, live on Local 12.
And good morning, everyone. I'm Bob Herzog.
I'm Jen Dalton.
I'm Sheila Gray. It is Friday Eve, and this morning our top story is Hurricane Milton's landfall. So let's get right over to Tara Blake.
Yeah, landfall was in Siesta Key at 8:30 last night at a Category 3. As it continued its track off to the northeast, right now at 18 miles per hour, it's downgraded to a Category 1, still causing major issues with heavy rain and winds. The wind gust this morning has been as high as 70 to 75 miles per hour. An interesting part about this hurricane is on the backside is where the winds have been the most extreme. Notice where the winds are coming together, that white looks a lot stronger than what you've got out ahead of it. That's not the typical look. It's usually stronger ahead. And so on the backside is where they're getting a lot of the damage to buildings and communities. And so while the hurricane is exiting out over the Atlantic, we are not yet done with the damage. We still are going to be obviously finding more and more out about the impacts of Milton as daylight hits because of that landfall late last night. Some of the biggest concerns were with the high storm surge. That did not happen in Tampa. Instead, very, very torrential rain happened in Tampa. 15 inches measured, upwards of 11 to 13 towards Orlando and Daytona Beach. Storm surge could still be an issue throughout the day today, though, so I'll keep you updated there. In the tornadic activity, this yesterday was breaking my heart. As if a major life-threatening hurricane isn't enough, we had this 41 tornadoes, 26 damaging wind reports for 67 total, where people were hunkering down in preparation for a hurricane and were instead impacted by a tornado followed up by a hurricane. I mean, that is just extreme. Back here at home, and for many, it's very, very quiet. Got a beautiful day ahead, some refreshing feels back here at home. Maybe a sweatshirt a good idea. Forecasted high is going to be a little bit closer to average, but now our average is only 69 degrees. So you've got sunshine and 72, so play outside after school. For right now, though, let's head on over to Bob.
Tara, thank you. Now more than 3 million people are without power this morning because of Milton. And as Tara just mentioned, those tornadoes spun up all across the Sunshine State before the hurricane even made landfall. They're being blamed for a number of deaths at a retirement community in St. Lucie County. The destructive tornadoes overturned vehicles, tore roofs off of structures. You can see that's Tropicana Field. I don't believe that was a tornado in that situation, but the damage there. The tornadoes sucked debris up into the air, with Milton now heading into the Atlantic, still crossing a little bit of the last edge of Florida before it goes out to sea. FEMA says it's critical for people in the area to stay put.
With the increased amount of rain, with the life-threatening flash flooding that's happening, you need to stay put, not go out into this. Try to make sure that you're as safe as possible.
The head of FEMA says the wind may be going down, but the weather's still a threat. More than 70,000 people are in shelters right now. President Joe Biden said the federal government has millions of meals and bottles of water and thousands of personnel on the ground to respond to the situation. Jen?
Bob, we've been keeping an eye on X or Twitter for any updates out of Florida. And I know Sydney's going to be coming up after me, and she's going to be talking about flights out of Cincinnati. But I just happened to see this tweeted seconds ago from the Associated Press, and they say the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're supposed to be playing in London. Their London flight will be delayed because of the hurricane. I was wondering about Walt Disney World. Obviously, a lot of us go there. A lot of us love that place. But I was wondering what was happening with them. And they actually closed yesterday at 2 p.m. And They are making sure all their folks are safe and have evacuation procedures in place. So we'll be following Disney World to see how things are going there. The city of Daytona Beach tweeted out that impacts of Hurricane Milton are worsening and continue to do so. So they're making sure everybody stays inside and asking people there to stay off the roads. This video is very impactful. I showed this earlier, but I want to show it again. This is from one of our meteorologists at one of our sister stations in Palm Beach. This is tornado, somebody in a vehicle, and you can see vehicles being blown. Look at that car being blown over during that tornado there in Palm Beach. I also wanted to show this one from space. This is an astronaut showing you a time lapse of video from space looking at Milton. But let's bring it back down to earth here. Local 12's Sydney Hawkins continues our team coverage of Milton. She's been in touch with Ohio Task Force 1. She's live in studio sharing what the group will be doing post-Milton. Sydney.
Yeah, Jen, more than 80 men and women with Ohio Task Force 1 remain in Orlando this morning. I spoke with one of those members who tells me many of them are firefighters or first responders back here in Ohio, so the life-saving measures they're providing are familiar to them. More than 3 million homes and businesses are reportedly without power in Florida. The devastation from Milton comes as people there are still cleaning up from Helene that touched down as a Category 4 hurricane late last month. I spoke with the planning team manager with Ohio Task Force 1 who tells me they have a rescue team, search team, planning and logistical support, K-9 handlers, and medical all with them to help storm victims. He also tells me those receiving the assistance have been nothing but grateful. Listen.
For Hurricane Helene here in Florida, we had an early team that went out that had a mission of searching a couple of neighborhoods that were still flooded underwater. And then in North Carolina, since we weren't there on the initial efforts, we didn't have any active rescues, but we were certainly a part of doing primary searches on houses and entire communities that hadn't been seen yet.
Now back here at home, I spoke with leaders at CVG who tell me the airport is acting as a safe parking area for aircraft scheduled to travel through the storm's path. As of yesterday, there were at least 25 planes parked at CVG until they were clear to go back in the air. Jen?
Sydney, thank you. The Central and Southern Ohio region of the Red Cross is also helping victims in Florida through blood donations, and more than 80 volunteers already deployed to affected areas.
Several groups around Cincinnati are stepping up and organizing relief for Hurricane Milton victims. The people leading these efforts all have ties to Florida. Jake Fernandez of Hebron is partnering with the Parlor Salon in Burlington. They're collecting toiletries and non-perishable food. He was forced to move back to Cincinnati after Hurricane Ian. The Pirates Den on the west side is gathering items until tomorrow. And Cincinnati native Steve Hill now lives in Palmetto, but he came up to collect items and drive them back to Florida.
From the 813 to the 513, I mean, we're all people. 75 takes you straight down to Florida, so we got a direct path to help, and we're going to take advantage of it.
You can find the closest supply drive to you inside the story by Paige Barnes on our website at local12.com.
Well, it took quite a number of Skyline fans to try and break a world record, but we had no doubt you'd get it done. And Sheila Gray was one of those people who jumped into the effort. The chili chain more than doubled the record for the most hot dog photos uploaded to Instagram in an hour. At the time of this post, they were still counting. Skyline calls it the best birthday ever.
It looks like the Guinness folks were there with CEO Dick Williams, like waiting to hand it over. They knew it was going to happen.
They knew it.
That's
no
great.
doubt. And I don't know if that was a record that existed already or if that's a new record that they established.
There was a hot dog record that was much less, so it wasn't hard for them to beat it. So
Gotcha.
I hope nobody comes for them now.
Because I still wonder how they decide, yeah, sure, that can be a record.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you make the book?
I don't know.
I don't
You
know
probably
either.
apply, and if they don't have it yet,
Let's come up with one we could do.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Got to be a thing.
Tacos.
Anyway, we'll do that later. It is 6:38. Sherlock Holmes fans are being promised a most authentic depiction of the fictional detective.
A look at the restoration of a century-old silent film series that's ahead.
Plus, even more to enjoy at Blink this year. We'll tell you how artists are elevating the experience and their work.
Well, we're here at the Bethany House in Bond Hill, and tonight they're hosting their Welcome Home Bash. It's their biggest fundraising event of the year, of course, going towards families facing homelessness. Coming up, I'll be sharing exactly how you guys can participate and where those funds will be going to.
The power of weather. We are still dealing with a Category 1 hurricane in Florida, just outside of Orlando in Daytona Beach. I'll give you a look at that updated track coming up. We've got at least some beauty in the way of weather coming up for you here too, as long as I guess weather cooperates, is better said. We've got the chance of seeing northern lights tonight, possibly on Friday as well. So you got to get away from city lights so that you can see it, and your camera may show a better picture than you're able to see with your naked eye, but this is pretty cool. So again, some good news in the weather world. We've got the Aurora forecast putting us at a 9, which means all of us, Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky, with the chance of seeing this. We're at an extreme geomagnetic storm status. We're in between severe and extreme, which is very, very rare. So Friday, there's still a chance, but it's minor to moderate. And then Saturday, most likely not going to be able to, but still quite a sight to see if weather can cooperate. And the good news is, it is. We've got Friday's high with sunshine at 75, but clear skies overnight tonight and again Friday night into Saturday. Saturday is going to be a little bit warmer at a high of 80. Sunday, we start to introduce a rain chance. Speaking of, we'll talk more on that, along with the updates on Milton coming up next. Bob?
Tara, thank you. 642. Blink Cincinnati is proving to be a festival for the eyes and ears. The musical editions coming to the Light and Art Show, and the best places to enjoy some tunes with all that illumination. Stay with us.
An Ohio man is facing charges after he allegedly brought guns into the Trump International Hotel and Tower in Chicago. 21-year-old Brandon Peck of Oakwood is facing 2 felony counts of aggravated unlawful use of a weapon. Police say he did not have a firearm owner identification card or a concealed carry license. A hotel employee spotted the firearms inside his hotel room and called the Secret Service. Police say Peck was taken into custody without incident, and they recovered 4 guns. Peck's attorney says he brought the guns from Ohio for protection.
Forever chemicals seeping into our groundwater.
We've seen with a lot of these legacy PFAS associations with the reduced effectiveness of vaccines in kids. We've seen increases in cholesterol.
The list of negative health effects grows by the day. Pesticides are one of the major ways these chemicals get into our water supply. Tonight on Local 12 News Live at 6, we turn the spotlight on the approval process for pesticides. Why are the testing standards for forever chemicals so weak? Local 12 News investigates the PFAS and pesticides problem. Tonight at 6.
The Bethany House in Cincinnati helps at-risk families with a path to long-term housing. Tonight's fall fundraiser helps with that mission. Local 12's Chloe Markley shares how you can get involved.
Hey, good morning, Jen. Well, this is their biggest fundraising event of the year. Of course, they're really relying on the community to donate these funds, but also have fun tonight, learn a ton more about the Bethany House and their mission. Of course, you guys, Daniel, are helping hundreds of families in our area kind of get back on their feet. Now, this is just a temporary shelter, right, for the meantime, until you can find them long-term housing. But tonight, your fundraiser, can you go over some details and why you're inviting the community out?
Well, you know, there's a lot of people struggling in our community, and a lot of those people end up getting served by Bethany House. We serve families, so mostly families led by women, and 2/3 of the people we serve are kids. And so an event like tonight really helps us be able to do even more for those families, whether that's them staying in shelter. We also do prevention work to help people avoid shelter, and we help follow people after they leave shelter with additional support. And so all the funds from tonight's evening will support those families.
That's great. It sounds like a really fun event tonight. Can you kind of go over the details, what people need to know? And of course, they can still get tickets, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be really fun. So our seats are sold out, but we have standing room only tickets. We're at the American Sign Museum in their newly expanded space. We've got local celebrity bartender Molly Wellman serving 3 unique cocktails just for Bethany House, silent auction, really neat raffle items. And so people can learn all of that on our website at bethanyhouseservices.org. And the event is called the Welcome Home Bash, so look for that page.
Awesome. It sounds like so much fun and definitely a need. So thanks for sharing that with us, Daniel. Like Daniel just said, the event is at 5:30. That's tonight at the American Sign Museum. But for now, back to you guys in the studio.
Chloe, thank you. Bethany House served more than 2,000 people last year.
Blink is 1 week away, and this year you will need to turn up the volume. The Art and Light Festival is adding music to many of the installations to create a more immersive experience. Several light installations will be accompanied by music or will feature special live performances by musicians and street performers. You'll find them at Lytle Park, 13th and Republic in OTR, 6th and Scott in Covington, Smale Park and the Icon Festival stage, along with Vine and 6th. Blink starts next Thursday night with the Let It Shine parade, and the first ever Blink Ensemble Chorus will open and close the parade ceremony with some extra sparkle. We expect to learn the route today. Blink runs through Sunday night.
Going to get a little nerdy here, guys, but I love this. Fans of Sherlock Holmes are in for a treat. A conservation team is reviving The Great Detective, restoring a century-old silent film series. They're the last silent Sherlock-related works to be restored. All of the other surviving ones have already been done. Ben Thompson is in charge of image quality.
So this is the section just before Waterloo Station. I probably spent 3 days on it. One shot, 10 seconds.
Wow. Thompson is digitally erasing marks and using software to match the original filmmaker's use of color. It is a meticulous task that proves there's nothing elementary, my dear Watson, about bringing Sherlock Holmes back to life.
That's neat.
The restored film series, being called Silent Sherlock, 3 classic cases, will be screened at the London Film Festival next week.
That is so neat to see.
It really is. I don't know if I could sit through a whole silent film.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm thinking about this guy sitting through and that meticulously going frame by frame, trying to make sure it all looks.
Right, look at how close he has to get. I mean,
he must love it.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, you could tell in his, when he
have
spoke
to.
that he was passionate about it.
Yeah.
I love
That's
it.
really
Look at
neat.
that.
I think that's
really
neat too.
Beautiful, Tara. All right, let's take a look at Hurricane Milton.
Yeah, let's get an update for you here. We've got nearly 6:50, and Milton is trying to exit out over the Atlantic. Still with very heavy rain, still dealing with the extremes from the wind. That has been very unique with Milton. On the backside is where the strongest winds have been. I've found this morning 70, 80 mile per hour winds. It's actually dialed back a little bit. Orlando at 51. We've got Cocoa Beach at about 61. But still, again, on the backside is where those extremes have been found. That's where windows have been busted out of high-rise buildings. We've heard about projectile signs. This happened in Tampa and Sarasota as well. So this was happening even with a Category 3 hurricane, again, which is rare. It's typical to find the more extreme winds out ahead of it and close to the eye, not on the backside of it. So again, landfall was found at 8:30 last night, 120 mile per hour winds there right towards Siesta Key. The good news is if you were worried about Tampa, if that's one of your favorite spots, you've got friends, family, or homes there, or a home there, we didn't have the extreme surge that was expected. It actually took water from the bay and pushed it back out over the sea, which is always one of those weird things that can happen because of reverse winds. So that's good news. Still expecting some additional storm surge. That's still a possibility even along this Atlantic coast as we sit at a Category 1. I wish this icon would travel with it, but it doesn't with this update, unfortunately. So this is how far out it's going to be by 9 o'clock. Barely even additional rain bands here. And obviously that wind continuing to decrease as it moves farther and farther out. Still potentially at a Cat 1, but just barely at 2 o'clock. And then downgrading to what will just be a remnant low as it continues over a bit of colder water there in through the Atlantic. Looks like my graphics are struggling a little bit here, unfortunately. Might be because it's ingesting a lot of information and a lot of wind and a lot of potentials. But forecast for us here at home is going to be quite nice. We don't have any of the extremes that you're finding there. We expect beautiful sunshine. I've got a small rain chance that's going to be in play by Sunday. Let me see if I can get my graphics going. By Sunday, it's only a 20% chance. It is going to come in with the cold front. I see temperatures dropping being the bigger story, but breezy winds are also going to be in place as overnight lows dip into the 30s and daytime highs are only going to be within the upper 50s. So if you're wanting to fully get that fall feel, yeah, next week is definitely going to be it. Rain, not much to show you. Again, a small chance on Sunday for maybe a stray shower or two, then maybe just a drop left over for Monday and Tuesday. For right now, though, our roads are quiet, and actually we're a little warmer than yesterday at this time. So let's check in with Jen and see if we have any trouble spots.
The 444 Traffic Report, sponsored by Blake Maislin.
Good morning to you. I only have one spot right now popped up with maybe a minor issue, and that is reports of the traffic lights malfunctioning at Hamilton Avenue and Belmont this morning. So expect a delay at that intersection. Got a little bit of slow traffic on southbound 75 as you are heading down past the Ronald Reagan Cross County Highway. And I think I've got some good news for you on 471, at least for now, as things starting to lighten up. It looks like all lanes are now open. I don't see a lane closed northbound on the bridge, and that would explain why we don't have a big backup at this time. So right now it's 5 minutes, 471 to downtown. And again, it looks like all lanes are open at this point. So that should help us out. I'm going to dig deep into that and see if we find any other times when it might be closed. But for now, enjoy that. Getting up to about 10 minutes, 71, 75 from 275 to downtown, but no other major problems. Time to call in and win. The Improvised Shakespeare Company is making a tour stop here in the tri-state. Performers improvise a Shakespearean masterpiece right before your eyes. Audience gives them a title, they improvise it. Nothing has been planned out or rehearsed. There are shows tomorrow night and Saturday afternoon at the Aronoff Center. And right now, callers 6 and 7 each win a pair of tickets. 513-763-5656. Good luck.
Coming up on Good Morning Cincinnati at 7 on Star 64, to chicken patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese.
Don't sing it.
Okay.
McDonald's introduces a new type of Big Mac.
Then at 8, a horror classic comes to life on stage.
Yeah, we have a preview of Frankenstein put on by the Cincinnati Shakespeare Company.
And switch back to Local 12 at 9 for ARC Cincinnati. The Department of Education is again revamping the financial aid process. So we have a local expert coming in with some guidance for college students and especially their parents.
Well, someone may need a different mode of transportation this time of year, and Joe's got you covered with his used and new brooms out there set up, ready to go for Halloween. Upload your pictures, your videos, local12.com/chime in. That's a fun little setup.
That is. That's great.
Is that a nimbus? Is that from Harry Potter?
Yeah.
I have some
I don't know, but I really
nimbus
like
look
it.
to it. I'm not really sure though.
If we have time, we were just talking about Milton and some things on Twitter. And one thing I didn't get to point out when we were looking at X is there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Yes.
There are people that are putting out tweets that look like giant tornadoes that completely engulfed. Make sure that you're following credible sources for that information, because when you search Milton, there's a lot of stuff out there that's not accurate.
That might be from previous storms. Might be from things that never happened.
Sometimes they take video or take things and manipulate it, and I don't know why people do that.
I don't know, but they have some really good TV stations in Florida and newspapers, so follow them. They know what they're doing.
Breaking news alerts and the Weather Authority forecast. This is Good Morning Cincinnati, live on Local 12.
Good morning, Cincinnati. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday. I'm Sheila Gray.
And I'm Sydney Hawkins in for Lear. Our top stories this morning, of course, Hurricane Milton.
Let's get right to Tara Blake.
Now a Category 1 hurricane, still a Category 1 hurricane, but obviously is downgraded since that landfall yesterday evening at 8:30 in Siesta Key. We've got winds at 85 miles per hour moving off to the northeast at 18 miles per hour. Half of it out over the Atlantic, still whipping winds on the backside. That's been one of the troubling parts about Milton, is the strong winds with the exit. That's where a lot of damage has been done, in addition to the torrential rain. Some places picking up 15 inches of rain, especially towards Tampa. Some spots, Tampa to Sarasota, found as much as 9 inches in just a few hours' time. I mean, extremes. Thankfully, not a lot of people were left in Tampa. We didn't get near the extremes in storm surge. We actually had reverse. The water was taken from the bay and shoved back out over the sea, which is the better scenario than having the extremes in storm surge. But still, storm surge could be an issue here today, as numbers could be maybe 3 to 5 feet. Severe weather reports were a major problem yesterday as well. We had 40 41 tornadoes. Unbelievable, and possibly historic there too, with the size and how many, that all coming from the bands of Milton. Forecast for us here at home, it's hard to say because it's perfect. I mean, we're a little chilly in the morning, but beautiful sunshine and play. I am seeing a little bit of rain possible on Sunday, maybe a little bit Monday, but overall our forecast remains quiet. We're sitting pretty close to where we were yesterday at this point. There's some chill in the air. You've got 52 degrees, winds out of the northeast at around 7. Morning reading is a little colder to the north where we have some 40s, but forecasted high with sunshine will be in the low 70s. I've got to warm up towards your weekend and the latest on Milton with impacts still heavily happening. So that's coming up. Sheila, over to you.
Thank you, Tara. Let's focus on Hurricane Milton some more because it's causing major flooding in Florida. As Tara said, it's weakened to a Category 1 storm, but several counties in West and Central Florida are still under flash flood emergencies, which means life-threatening water rising at catastrophic levels. More than 3 million people don't have power. We know that Milton has left people dead in its wake, but we don't have a number yet. Milton also spawned deadly tornadoes, as Tara mentioned there, even before it made landfall. Look at that. 41 tornadoes broke out across Miami, Tampa, and Melbourne. This is a large funnel cloud over Wellington that's more like something you'd see in Oklahoma, not in Florida. The twisters left a path of destruction. Several people were killed, including some residents at a retirement community. Search and rescue efforts are starting, but it's going to be tough with the high water and debris on the roads.
Now, some people living in Florida as well as tourists were able to get out, but there are others still weathering the storm at home. Sandy Dunn and her husband have lived there for 3 years. Dunn grew up in Westchester, her husband in Delhi. The past few days have been filled with stocking up on extra food and water. She's right on the edge of the major evacuation areas. They say they were taking the proper precautions, but before the storm, they were told they were preparing for the worst, rather.
We're hoping to ride this out because our home is a newer home. It is wind mitigated with impact glass, and we do have our shutters up, but anything can happen.
The Dunns lost power around 9 last night. They're waiting until the sun comes up this morning to go out and survey this damage. More than 80 first responders with Ohio Task Force 1 remain in Orlando this morning, offering support through medicine, search efforts, and connecting victims with family members they've lost contact with. This has been a 2-week journey for Ohio Task Force 1. They went to Orlando in late September to assist with the aftermath of Hurricane Helene near Tampa. They were then sent to North Carolina to serve multiple counties there. This morning, they're back in Orlando. Yesterday, they were staging and preparing for where they are needed today. Their work is expected to continue as Hurricane Milton landed as a Category 3 storm yesterday.
We're all down here with the same idea that we want to help as many people as we can in the best way possible, whether that's through recovery, through active rescue, through distributing supplies, whatever we're tasked with. We're just ready to do.
More than 3 million homes and businesses are reportedly without power across the Sunshine State.
Oh, this story just kind of breaks my heart, but it has a happy ending. Coming out of the storm-ravaged Tampa area, the Florida Highway Patrol posted this video on social media. A trooper saved that dog. It had been left tied to a pole along I-75.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Tell the poor dog is terrified. It's standing in the water. That social media post included a message for residents to keep their dogs safe. Yesterday, I saw a lot of people writing their pet information like on their arm and stuff in case they got separated from them.
That just shows the extent of what first responders are responding to every situation.
Yeah, that trooper's a hero. A terrorist arrest in Oklahoma has some law enforcement wondering what's next.
Plus, the Bengals are hoping to shore up their defense with a couple of players coming off the injured list. We have the details after the break. Stay with us.
Good morning, Cincinnati. This is a look at a town that's a little bit north of Cocoa Beach. We have seen Hurricane Milton going out over the eastern coast of Florida and out into the Atlantic Ocean. It's still bringing some wind and rain, but it looks like things are getting a little bit better in that area. So that's something good to see. And as the sun comes up, I'm sure we'll see quite a bit more damage as this storm heads out to the Atlantic Ocean with all kinds of destruction in its wake. 7:09, a foiled terror plot on American soil has American law enforcement agencies examining threats and some challenges. National correspondent Christine Frizzell reports.
A planned Election Day attack to be carried out in the name of ISIS led FBI agents to 27-year-old Nasir Ahmad Tawhidi and his underage brother-in-law in Oklahoma. These photos, along with evidence of saved ISIS propaganda, released by the Department of Justice. The suspect, an Afghan national, arrested following his purchase of rifles and ammunition from an undercover law enforcement officer. The FBI, for months now, on high alert.
I see blinking lights everywhere I turn. I've never seen a time where all the threats, or so many of the threats, are all elevated all at exactly the same time.
Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas warning last month in a closed-door speech of lone offenders who go after schools and campuses, houses of worship, grocery stores, hospitals, polling places, election workers, and law enforcement officers. The foiled election plot suspect entered in September 2021 on a special immigrant visa from Afghanistan, just after the chaotic withdrawal from his country. Meanwhile, another humanitarian program that uses the CBP One app has flown in more than 530,000 migrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela, countries with governments unlikely to share background information for those accepted. And just this year, U.S. Border Patrol has arrested more than 100 people on the terror watch list, trying to enter the country between ports of entry.
We do not have the ability to vet the majority of those that we are encountering at our border, regardless of whether they illegally enter, or we bring them into a port of entry, or we allow them to fly into one of 45 airports. The vetting capability doesn't change.
Both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris have laid out their plans to, quote, fix the immigration system. The impacts of that system, deemed broken by so many, now an issue that is front and center here in Washington. I'm Christine Frizzell reporting.
On the campaign trail, Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance used Vice President Kamala Harris's words against her on a campaign stop in Arizona. Vance played a clip for the crowd in Tucson from the Democratic presidential candidate's appearance on ABC's The View. Harris told the panel she could not think of anything she would have done differently than President Joe Biden.
Kamala's entire campaign is running on she doesn't even know who Joe Biden is, right? She pretends that she is not the sitting vice president of the United States, and her entire campaign is to run as much as she can, as far as she can, from Joe Biden and his disastrous record.
Vice presidential hopeful Tim Walz was also in Tucson yesterday. Walz's central theme of his stop was to push back on former President Donald Trump's Make America Great Again slogan, saying a president's words matter.
It was at that first inaugural, President Franklin Roosevelt told the American public, all we have to fear is fear itself. And it was meant to bring us together, to take on the challenges, as that's what we've always done. This idea of Make America, we've always been a great country.
Early voting is underway in Arizona, and the Harris and Trump campaigns are both making several stops in the state in the coming days. Harris is scheduled to host a rally in Phoenix later today, while Trump will hold one Sunday in Prescott Valley. That's a Republican stronghold about 90 miles north of Phoenix. In 2020, President Biden defeated Trump in Arizona by more than 10,000 votes.
We don't know exactly what was said, but President Joe Biden held a direct 30-minute phone call with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday, talking about all the violence in the Middle East. Their first conversation in almost 2 months. President Biden's frustrated that Netanyahu appears to be brushing off his advice and recommendations. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said after the call that they discussed a range of issues, but wouldn't provide any details about Israel's planned retaliation for the missile barrage by Iran last week. Now, the president has said it shouldn't include an attack on any Iranian nuclear sites. The White House says the leaders agreed to remain in close contact directly and through their national security teams. 7:14 now. The Bengals have some key defensive players back at practice. Sheldon Rankins and DJ Ivey had been dealing with injuries. Rankins missed 3 straight games. Ivey's been out since December. If they play on Sunday, it'll be a boost to the struggling defense. It's been a close but no cigar season. All 4 of the Bengals' losses have been by 1 possession. Quarterback Joe Burrow leads the NFL in touchdown passes and passer ratings, but he says they clearly just need to win.
I would say right now we're not the team to beat. We're 1-4. I don't think there's any balance to find. I don't think we can say that about ourselves right now. There's a lot of work to do before we can consider anything postseason wise. I think right now we just have to focus on the week-to-week, day-to-day, and trying to get a win.
The Bengals play the Giants on Sunday night, and a 1-4 record is not changing the way the team prepares, according to the head coach. The plan this week on defense is attack the Giants' offense and try to dictate the tempo of the game. Here's Zach Taylor.
Whatever we can do to put the offense, their offense, off balance, that's what we got to do. And so we certainly as a team always go into a game of here's how this game is going to be played and here's what we're going to need from all 3 phases. But at the same time, you want the defensive game plan to be, we dictate the tempo, we dictate the down and distance, and we've got the advantage. And so any plan, anything we can get the players to do to get us in that position is what we tend to do.
Ending the Bengals news on a good note. Joe Burrow had 5 touchdowns last game, 193 yards and 2 touchdowns for Jamar Chase. They were named the FedEx Air and Ground Players of the Week for the NFL.
All right, we have a tip-off time for this year's crosstown shootout between Xavier and UC. It'll be at 2 in the afternoon on December 14th. That game will also be on ESPN+. Now, this is always a big one, but stakes could be even higher this year as it is the makings of a potential top 25 matchup. ESPN has UC ranked in 19 in their preseason rankings, with X coming just outside the top 25. It's been a one-sided rivalry in recent years, with Xavier taking the last 5 meetings, but they're always close, with 4 of the past 6 being decided by less than 8 points, with both teams looking for a marquee win in the non-conference schedule. The game takes on even more importance.
It's always a fun time around the city when that happens, Sydney. A team of superheroes is gathering at the Cincinnati Museum Center for some Halloween fun tonight. Off the Rails Halloween edition is for adults only. Come dressed as your favorite superhero and explore the haunted halls of the History Museum. Keep your costume on for a Masked Singer karaoke. And hero and villain themed drinks are available. Tickets are $25 and the fun will last from 7 to 10. A man from Norwood is making sure every child has a Halloween costume. You can shop for your child for free this weekend at the Norwood Recreation Center. Local 12's Annie Brown has a look at his kindness. Morning, Annie.
Good morning. Well, that's right. You can come here to the Norwood Recreation Center on Saturday and Sunday if you need a costume for your child. And let me tell you, we took a look at some of the costumes yesterday afternoon, and there's everything. We've got Ariel the Mermaid, ghosts and ghouls, Captain America, anything that your child would want. Now, this whole idea came on the idea that every child should have a costume. Here's how it works. Norwood man James Bishop helped collect about 200 costumes, as well as accessories for kids of all ages, through a costume drive that started last year. The goal was to collect as many new or gently used costumes as possible. This Saturday and Sunday, families are invited to shop with their child to get a costume if they need it. Each family will get a bag with their costume, including some Halloween candy. Bishop says, along with a love for Halloween himself, Norwood loves Halloween, and the area gets a lot of trick-or-treaters, so he wanted to find a way to make sure everyone was included in the fun.
We're Halloween fanatics. We have always been into Halloween, and when we moved to Norwood, we realized how much Norwood and Halloween have such a connection. Our neighborhood gets very much into Halloween. We get like over 300 kids for trick-or-treating, which kind of sparked this whole idea, is that we get so many kids and everyone loves the decorations. And this was just a way to say, okay, how can we make sure that every kid that wants to trick-or-treat has a costume that they can wear year after year?
So you heard Bishop, the goal is to do this year after year. So if you have a new or gently used costume that you don't think your child can use, you can drop it here at the Recreation Center this weekend. There's also areas around Norwood where you can drop it off. Some of those places are Nick's Cycle and Strength, Indian Mound Cafe, or the Norwood Cidery. For now, live in Norwood, Annie Brown, Local 12 News.
Love that more, Annie. The pop-up shop is from 10 to 1 on Saturday and Sunday. And if you have any questions, we have this email on our website, but it's norwoodgivesback@gmail.com.
Red Bull is bringing a popular summertime event to the Queen City. The Cincinnati Police Department's special events calendar has Flugtag slated for next August. That translates directly from German as Flight Day. However, most of the homemade machines spend more time crashing than actually flying. Thousands of people gathered on the riverfront for this event last August, and we asked the folks at BB Riverboats about a 20 to 25 repeat.
Our boat was front and center. They had contacted us, and hopefully, I have not heard that, but I'm going to call them as soon as we're done because we were front and center. We were a part of that big event. And, you know, anything to do with the river, BB Riverboats has to be involved.
Up to 40 teams design and build human-powered flying machines before launching them on a 27-foot flight deck over the Ohio River. In this case, a panel judges them on creativity, performance, and, of course, speed.
It's funny to watch.
Yeah, it is. 7:20 now, coming up on Good Morning Cincinnati. Returning a rare painting to a family after being stolen prior to World War II. We'll have that story after the break.
A Columbus area tattoo shop owner is giving breast cancer survivors a chance to heal through art. 15 survivors came from across the country to get free tattoos, and the women take control of their bodies and gain confidence by turning their mastectomy scars into artwork. The Gahanna Tattoo Shop's artists donated their time and their space to make it happen.
All right, you're looking at a rare pastel painting by Claude Monet that's had a remarkable journey. A couple in Austria bought the piece titled Bord de Mer in 1936. It vanished when the Nazis invaded a few years later. Now, this painting finally resurfaced in 2016 at an exhibit in France. It was valued at $500,000 by the Houston Gallery that listed it for sale. But it had to be surrendered to the FBI when the owners learned it was stolen. The painting was finally handed over to the couple's granddaughter yesterday. How about that?
Breaking news alerts and the Weather Authority forecast. This is Good Morning Cincinnati, live on Local 12.
Good Thursday morning. I'm Local 12 News meteorologist Tara Blake. Milton made landfall last night at about 8:30, just south of Sarasota, near Siesta Key, at a Category 3 with 120-mile-per-hour winds. What's interesting about Milton is we had a reverse storm surge, which meant that the water in the bay was actually shoved back out over the water, which helped. Now, because of the extreme winds on the backside of this particular hurricane, which is rare, we instead got extreme wind that brought that surge back in. Still not the big numbers that were expected at 10 to 15 feet. We're going to continue to get more and more details as far as Milton is concerned on the west coast, but now on the east coast, we've got a Category 1 hurricane exiting out and away, which is very good news. The heaviest rain bands are already out over the Atlantic. Still some additional wind and rain expected east, but notice it well outside of Florida, still at a Cat 1 by this afternoon, and then downgrading to just a remnant low by very early on Friday. So still a lot of forward movement, not a curve back to the United States, which is a welcome sight to see, and obviously a chance for Florida to really see what's going on from the damage of last night. So extreme rain, extreme wind. That was probably the biggest two components, but there's still storm surge concerns, especially as waterways fill back up with a high tide this morning. It is going to be possibly as high as 3 to about 7 feet on both coasts. You can still see the different warnings in place as well. We've got hurricane warnings left over and those storm surge warnings in place too. Back here at home, a rather quiet forecast continues. It almost feels wrong to have such beautiful weather here at home. We do have a small chance at a stray shower on Sunday, small chance Monday, Tuesday. I think most of us actually through it all stay quiet, but here it is. Real light activity. Most of it is going to be to the north and east of us, but you can see it here on Sunday morning. Maybe a drop again on Monday. Again, most of this kind of seems like it's around us, but you can see it a little bit trying to inch in for us on Monday as well. I think the bigger story is going to be the major temperature drop off. So for today, a high closer to average. Average is 69. We're going to bump you up on Saturday to 80, but by Monday, you've got a high of 61. 50s behind that. We'll talk more on your 7-day forecast coming up.
Breaking news alerts and the Weather Authority forecast. This is Good Morning Cincinnati, live on Local 12.
Good morning, Cincinnati. Thank you for joining us. It's Thursday the 10th. I'm Sheila Gray.
And I'm Sydney Hawkins in for Aaliyah. Here's what's happening now. Hurricane Milton not only leaves more than 3 million homes and businesses without power, several people are also without water. St. Petersburg officials warn people living there that a broken water main forced the city to shut off its drinking water. While Milton has weakened to a Category 1 hurricane, it can still leave devastating destruction behind. Florida Senator Richard Scott says the best thing people can do now is stay in place.
Number one is people that didn't evacuate that should have. We can't take care of them now. You have to stay in place now, and you have to hunker down, and you have to keep yourself alive.
Now, those blue flashes you're seeing aren't lightning. They're an electrical transformer exploding. It left a neighborhood without power as the roads flooded, almost looking like rivers. Wow.
I want to give you a live look that we have right now on Sarasota. So many people from our area go down there on vacation. The sun is starting to come up, so we're starting to get a little bit of a look at damage in Florida on the western coastline. See that boat? It's up on the dock. And you can see the water level is really, really high in that area of Sarasota right there on the beach. Several groups around Cincinnati are stepping up to organize relief for Hurricane Milton. The people leading these efforts all have ties to Florida. Jake Fernandez of Hebron is partnering with the Parlor Salon in Burlington. They're collecting toiletries and non-perishable food. He was forced to move back to Cincinnati after Hurricane Ian. The Pirates Den on the west side is gathering items until tomorrow. And Cincinnati native Steve Hill now lives in Palmetto, but he came up to collect items and drive them back to Florida.
From the 813 to the 513, I mean, we're all people. 75 takes you straight down to Florida, so we got a direct path to help, and we're going to take advantage of it.
All 3 supply drives have various drop-off locations and times, and you can find the one that's nearest to you in Paige Barnes' story on local12.com. One of the most dangerous things about a hurricane is the storm surge. We talk about it all the time. Here's a closer look at why that's a major concern from our chief meteorologist, John Gum.
Well, it's that push of water that comes in advance of the hurricane and as the hurricane makes landfall. You think of the winds out ahead of this thing blowing that water toward the coast, and that water piles up. The stronger the hurricane, the stronger the storm surge can be. So let's take a 3-foot storm surge, for instance, here. That comes up to the dune line along many beaches, may cause damage to the beaches. But when you start to get into the higher storm surge, maybe a storm surge of around 6 feet, which is going to be pretty common, it looks like, into the Tampa Bay area, that's when you start seeing flooding of homes adjacent to the water, adjacent to the coast here, especially on the first floor. The 12-foot storm surge not just inundates the lower levels of structures adjacent to the coast, it can inundate the upper floors, the second floor of these structures. And this storm surge is the most deadly part of a hurricane. It kills more people than any other aspect of the storm. And this is going to be a danger in Florida as this storm makes its way toward the coast.
More than 80 men and women with Ohio Task Force 1 remain in Orlando assisting storm victims this morning. A team member says multiple people on the team are firefighters and first responders back here at home, so the life-saving measures they're providing are familiar to them. The devastation from Milton comes as people there are still cleaning up from Helene that touched down as a Category 4 hurricane last month. The planning team manager with Ohio Task 1 says they have a rescue team, search team, planning and logistical support, canine handlers, and medical all with them as they help storm victims.
For Hurricane Helene here in Florida, we had an early team that went out that had a mission of searching a couple of neighborhoods that were still flooded underwater. And then in North Carolina, since we weren't there on the initial efforts, we didn't have any active rescues, but we were certainly a part of doing primary searches on houses and entire communities that hadn't been seen yet.
Now, leaders at CVG also tell me the airport is acting as a safe parking area for aircraft scheduled to travel through the storm's path. As of yesterday, there were at least 25 planes parked at CVG until they were cleared to go back in the air.
We have some more live video from Sarasota. Our director, Rory, has just been scanning the cameras right now, and he found this video that shows some damage to boats along the coast in Sarasota. And you can see how badly damaged that boat is.
Yeah.
But I think that's a marina, because take a look at those posts sticking up. It's like those are the parking spots for the boats.
Yeah.
And it's completely underwater there.
It's incredible.
It really is. We'll keep taking a look as we continue. But we have some more local news coming up. McDonald's is presenting their new Chicken Big Mac.
All right, sounds good. And Blink announces a new musical component to the festival. We'll have the details after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back at 7:37. We have something new to enjoy on the fast food scene. McDonald's is officially releasing the Chicken Big Mac, and customers are excited about it. This morning we have owner and operator Erica Shadow in here to tell us all about this sandwich. I have to say, the name is not just a name, it is big. Good morning, Erica.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Talk to me about this release, officially releasing to stores today.
Today is the first day for the new Chicken Big Mac, so you can order the sandwich either in store or on the app or through delivery. It is the same great Big Mac taste with a little bit of a twist. It's got two tempura battered chicken patties in place of the beef, but it's still got all the other great flavors that you love. The special sauce, the cheese, the lettuce, and the pickle on a very large Big Mac sandwich.
Yeah, so already released overseas. What was the reaction there? Do we anticipate the same reaction from customers here back home?
I think so, yeah. So it has made its debut on the international markets. A lot of fan favorites over there. So this is the first time the sandwich is actually coming to the U.S. So we're really excited. I think our customers here are going to have the same reaction that they did over on the international scene as well.
Talk about, you touched on it a little bit, the difference that the original Big Mac. Is there a certain drink or food item that people pair with the original, maybe that they will pair with this one?
Well, I would still suggest our famous French fries that taste really great with a Big Mac sandwich. I think, one of the questions we've been asking is a Chicken Big Mac really a Big Mac? And so I think for all of you out there, if you go out and try it, you'll see that it's still got a really great taste. But it's just a little bit different with the tempura battered chicken patties, so a little bit of a different take than the beef.
All locations, people can pick this up today?
All locations across the city and across the United States are starting to sell today, so you want to get out there and try it.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
All right, 7:39 now. The Bethany House is hosting their biggest fundraiser of the year. Local 12's Chloe Markley will tell us how they help families. Plus, two young boys are helping people affected by the recent hurricanes. We'll have that story after the break.
Good morning, Cincinnati. You're taking a live look at Jacksonville, Florida, as we scan around for live shots as the sun comes up in the wake of Hurricane Milton moving its way across the state. Still dumping rain on the east coast of Florida now as it heads back into the Atlantic. Still dealing with some wind there, too. My brother's down in Palm Beach, and they are without power, as are about 3 million people this morning in Florida. We'll keep you updated on what's going on. In other hurricane news, the plant that supplies more than half of the IV fluids to hospitals in the U.S. is shut down because of Hurricane Helene. Medical reporter Liz Bonus explains what's being done to meet national demand.
Hey there, everybody. Federal officials announcing today that they are working to help make sure that hospitals have enough IV bag supplies. It's all because Baxter, the North Carolina company that supplies bags of IV fluids for healthcare providers, is so damaged from Helene, it can't produce the needed supply.
We are experiencing reduced shipments now.
This is leading some of the largest health systems nationwide to do what Ohio's TriHealth president and CEO Mark Clement and Chief Medical Officer Dr. Helen Kaselka call smart conservation tactics.
We're switching people to oral medication when we can. If they can take fluid, or if they can take by mouth, we're going to give them whatever they can, medicines or fluid by mouth. That's kind of a simple thing. We're also looking at how we compound medications with less fluid. And
just like in COVID-19, local, state, and national command centers are being set up.
We share nationally, we share locally.
This helps health systems communicate about what's being directed where.
Their production actually accounts for about 60% of IV fluids across the country. So that's a large amount. About 85% of the IV fluids in the state of Ohio come from this company. They announced this morning that they think they are able to supply more, but we're monitoring that. And with Milton coming now, we might have something else we have to monitor. So we're very aware of that as well.
As for what was announced today to help meet demand?
The allocation that they put in place immediately following the disruption of that plant operation at 40% of previous supplies, we're going to go to 60% by the end of October, and they expect by the end of this year, in December, to be back to pretty much full capacity. So,
if you have concerns about an upcoming procedure or ongoing care, reach out to your own primary care doctor. With your health news, I'm Liz Bonus reporting.
7:44 now. An Ohio man is facing felony charges accused of taking guns to the Trump International Hotel and Tower in Chicago. 21-year-old Brandon Peck of Oakwood is facing 2 felony counts of aggravated unlawful use of a weapon. Police say he did not have a firearm owner's ID or a concealed carry license. A hotel employee spotted the firearms inside his hotel room and alerted the Secret Service. Police say Peck was taken into custody without incident. 4 guns were recovered. Peck's attorney says he brought the guns from Ohio for protection.
Forever chemicals are seeping into groundwater.
We've seen with a lot of these legacy PFAS associations with the reduced effectiveness of vaccines in kids. We've seen increases in cholesterol.
The list of negative health effects from PFAS grows by the day. Pesticides are one of the major ways these chemicals get into water supplies. And tonight on Local 12, we're turning a spotlight on the approval process for pesticides. Why are the testing standards for forever chemicals so weak? Local 12 News investigates the PFAS and pesticide problem tonight at 6.
The city of Walton is being sued again for actions taken by its controversial former mayor. Walton businessman and resident Kelly Fulmer filed the suit last month. He claims former Mayor Gabe Brown improperly used city resources to harass and intimidate him. The city wanted access to the parking lot owned by Fulmer, who wanted to get paid for its use. Fulmer says he's filing the lawsuit so this does not happen to anyone else.
In order to ensure that this never happens again to another citizen, to another business person, the actions of the former administration were just simply so egregious it could not be left unchecked.
In a Facebook message, Brown says the lawsuit is a vindictive money grab and it would never have happened if his name weren't on the ballot to run for the remainder of the mayoral term. Brown resigned twice this spring, but is now running against current interim mayor Terry Courtney to fill the remainder of this term.
The Bethany House in Cincinnati helps at-risk families with a path to long-term housing, and you can support them.
Local 12's Chloe Markley tells us how its fundraiser tonight helps with that mission.
Well, this is their biggest fundraising event of the year. Of course, they're really relying on the community to donate these funds, but also have fun tonight, learn a ton more about the Bethany House and their mission. Of course, you guys, Daniel, are helping hundreds of families in our area kind of get back on their feet. Now, this is just a temporary shelter, right, for the meantime until you can find them long-term housing. But tonight, your fundraiser, can you go over some details and why you're inviting the community out?
Well, you know, there's a lot of people struggling in our community, and a lot of those people end up getting served by Bethany House. We serve families, so mostly families led by women, and 2/3 of the people we serve are kids. And so an event like tonight really helps us be able to do even more for those families, whether that's them staying in shelter. We also do prevention work to help people avoid shelter, and we help follow people after they leave shelter with additional support. And so all the funds from tonight's evening will support those families.
That's great. It sounds like a really fun event tonight. Can you kind of go over the details, what people need to know? And of course, they can still get tickets, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be really fun. So our seats are sold out, but we have standing room only tickets. We're at the American Sign Museum in their newly expanded space. We've got local celebrity bartender Molly Wellman serving 3 unique cocktails just for Bethany House, silent auction, really neat raffle items. And so people can learn all of that on our website at bethanyhouseservices.org. And the event is called the Welcome Home Bash, so look for that page.
Awesome. It sounds like so much fun and definitely a need. So thanks for sharing
Absolutely.
that with us, Daniel. Like Daniel just said, the event is at 5:30. That's tonight at the American Sign Museum. But for now, back to you guys in the studio.
Now, the Bethany House served more than 2,000 people last year with its shelter, housing, and prevention programs.
We have an update on a Local 12 News investigation in Lockland. Village leaders say they need help to take care of thousands of legal immigrants. Local 12's Christian Hauser reports on their concerns.
Nearly all of the immigrants coming to Lockland are fleeing violence and persecution in their home country of Mauritania on the western coast of Africa. Now they're legally in the United States with temporary protected status while their asylum cases work through the legal system. Mayor Mark Mason says the influx of immigrants is stressing emergency services with 911 calls that aren't for emergencies.
Then when there is a true emergency, our units are already out, and so you have to wait for a neighboring agency to come. We've had apartments catch on fire multiple times because they're not used to cooking on stoves.
Mason says a federal solution is needed, including a program that would guide immigrants to larger communities capable of handling the population increase. He says mostly, though, there needs to be money to cover the increased costs for services. Mason says the village has reached out for help, but before our reports, no one was answering.
Your stories that you've done has certainly stimulated some phone calls, certainly. Last Friday we met with representatives from Congressman Davidson's office, and we've had discussions with Sherrod Brown's office as well.
Mason says he also spoke with County Commissioner Alicia Reese. I've been calling and emailing Congressman Warren Davidson's office for nearly 4 weeks now, and I finally just received a response after reaching out again this morning. Davidson's chief of staff responded in an email saying, quote, "Thanks for reaching out, but we're going to pass." Democrat Vanessa Enoch is challenging Davidson in November. She says she'd be proud to sponsor funding legislation, but says that it must be tied to a larger border security bill.
It has to be dollars that complement that policy. So I do believe that that has to happen at the federal level as well. And yes, absolutely, we need to send resources to the communities to sustain an influx of population, no matter where they came from.
The mayor tells me that he's worried that if something isn't done soon, the village is one apartment fire away from having a deadly tragedy in which hundreds of people lose their lives. In Lockland, I'm Christian Hauser.
Christian contacted Governor Mike DeWine and Senator Sherrod Brown's offices several times in the past few weeks to ask for interviews about this situation. DeWine's staff says the governor will do an interview, but has not scheduled one with him. And Senator Brown hasn't committed, but his staff says they are working to accommodate us.
2 young boys from Maryland are helping with hurricane relief. 10-year-old Jackson and 8-year-old Nicholas Watkins are from Plylesville, Maryland. They wanted to do something to help after their dad was deployed to North Carolina. He's a fire captain who was sent to assist FEMA efforts. Now, the boys organized the donation drive, got a 53-foot trailer, and brought the community together to fill it with as much needed supplies. And that's not all. The boys also collected nearly $2,000 for hurricane victims. Now, instead of coming home, their dad will head to Florida to help even more people. And that's exactly why Jackson and Nicholas wanted to do something.
Look at them. Aren't they the sweetest things?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kids come up with the best ideas.
They
and
do.
It just shows how big their hearts are and how far they're willing to go.
Yeah, and seeing that damage, you can see why they wanted to help. It's great. Entertainment news for you now. Actress Leah Thompson plays the matriarch in a movie about a decades-long feud between restaurants. The series is called The Chicken Sisters. It's on Hallmark Plus. Now, both families run small-town chicken restaurants competing in a reality series for a $100,000 prize. Thompson says her character, Nancy, is always serving up surprises. Wendy Malick's in it too, and I love her. The Chicken Sisters is streaming on Hallmark Plus every Thursday with a new episode. I might have to watch that. I like them.
Taylor Swift is opening her purse to help victims of Hurricanes Helene and Milton. Feeding America CEO announced the singer donated $5 million toward hurricane relief efforts. The statement says the donation will help communities rebuild while providing food and water to all those affected by storms. Swift is not the first musician who's helping with hurricane relief. Country music legend Dolly Parton pledged $1 million to help Helene victims. North Carolina natives James Taylor and Luke Combs and Eric Church will be joined by guitarist Billy Strings for a hurricane relief concert in Charlotte later this month.
This year's Met Gala features a lineup of fashion-forward men. The museum says actor Coleman Domingo, race car driver Lewis Hamilton, rapper A$AP Rocky, and producer Pharrell are co-chairing the event. They'll work with Vogue editor-in-chief Anna Wintour and honorary co-chair LeBron James for the theme this year, Super Fine, Tailoring Black Style.
This committee is like all over the place.
I know, right?
We have LeBron, we have some musicians.
And you know what, Pharrell, doesn't he already have like his own fashion brand?
Oh, yeah.
Homegrown or something like that,
Yeah.
I can't remember. But he worked with like this famous Japanese designer and has really, and he's worked with Louis Vuitton and all these other things. He's like a natural to me, Pharrell is.
And I'm excited to see how the stars show up.
I know. They always wear something weird. Some will be glamorous and beautiful, but some will be weird.
You have to stand out, right?
That's right. That's right. Okay, we have some outstanding weather here coming up and the latest on Hurricane Milton, so stay with us.